Securities offered through Cetera Advisor Networks, LLC, member FINRA SIPC. Investment advisory services offered through CWM, LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisor. Cetera Advisor Networks, LLC is under separate ownership from any other named entity. Carson Partners, a division of CWM, LLC, is a nationwide partnership of advisors. This is The Way to Wealth, with host Scott Ford, a jiu-jitsu fighting, woodworking, beekeeping entrepreneur who is also the managing director, partner, and wealth advisor of Carson Wealth. Financial freedom is the goal, and clarity and simplicity is how we'll get there. Let's get to it. This is Way to Wealth.
Hello, and welcome back to the Way to Wealth podcast, where we're all about making money simple so you can focus on living life fully and doing it now, not 30 years from now. Super excited to have a guest on today's podcast. Guest is Paul Akers. And I met Paul, years ago at a conference, a Scaling Up conference with Vern Harnish, and just really resonated with him as a human being and with his thinking methodology, because it was all about synthesizing, simplifying, looking for efficiencies. And I'm going to let him talk about how that all came about, but that's what resonated with me. Then he's got a company called FastCap that he founded, uses lean Toyota production system type systems to simplify and make things more effective and productive. And as a woodworker, which some of you maybe don't know that about me, that's one of my gigs. So I build our kitchen cabinets here, and I love working with my hands. And if you look at my shop, I actually shot a video on that. In fact, I can post the video of my shop that I shared with Paul. He redid it via lean.
Went crazy. It was so good.
He made it better. And so, so there's just a lot in common. So if you look at my shop, you'll see FastCap stuff all over my shop. It's awesome, awesome products because they keep making it better, this constant, never-ending improvement. So I'll pause. I really want to introduce my friend Paul Akers and just share a little bit, if you would, with the audience, Paul, who you are, your backstory, and why are we talking here today?
Okay, well, I can do it in about 60 seconds, hopefully. I'm from San Diego originally. I wasn't a good student in school. I loved woodworking, as you did, Scott. And when I was 17 years old, I graduated from high school and I went to work for Bob Taylor, building musical instruments, Taylor guitars, one of the premier guitar builders in the world. Bob changed my life. He just really caused me to think like an innovator. And for a kid that didn't do well in school, that was really helpful because I learned how to be very creative. I went and got my degree. I graduated from college, taught school, only lasted 2 years with the crazy administration there, then started my own business and started building custom furniture, cabinets, and homes. And I developed a product called the FastCap when I was about 37 years old. That product took off globally. Today, FastCap's about a $40 million company, 40 countries, and we have 800 products. And I am a passionate innovator, an inventor. And then I discovered lean manufacturing, the Toyota production system, went to Japan, spent the last 20 years in Japan learning how the Japanese think. And my company just went through an acceleration of straight up in success in all metrics. And today I have a great life, and I love life. I love helping people learn about lean and how to run businesses.
Yeah, that's all very true from what I know of you, Paul. And behind me actually is a Taylor guitar. It's the one you recommended. It's a Cold Wood. Still working on that. I haven't mastered it, but it's fun to try to learn new things, and I think that's key. So anyway,
I play every day. That's
you still do?
Yeah, you have the GS Mini. You got the GS Mini, right?
That's exactly right. You can't quite see it, but it's sitting behind me. You were the one that said, look, get that, because then when you travel, you can take it with you. And the key is every day, at least a few minutes, spending some time.
That's exactly what I do. Every day before I go to bed, when I wake up in the morning, I play guitar and I love it. That GS Mini is awesome.
That's so cool. You have so much wisdom to share. So one of the reasons I'm so excited about this, Paul, and an example, I know when we first met, you look like a different human being. I mean, when we met, phenomenal with lean, but you transformed your body, and you did that through, again, lean principles with the book. You have several books that I'm aware of: Lean Health, the clearly 2-second lean. You have Lean Travel. You have
Banish Sloppiness.
Thank you, Banish Sloppiness.
About Japan. Yeah.
So You're looking great. Again, keeping
Thank
up
you.
with it.
I
Share
try
if you,
hard.
yeah, man, it's the journey. So you're doing a
Yeah.
great job. What would you share? Most of the audience are business owners, entrepreneurs. What happened? What was your experience on the lean journey? I mean, if you were to, well, let me state it this way. And I know this is maybe not an easy task, but if you were to just synthesize lean, what would you say?
It's all about people. And
Mm.
this was the mistake that I made when I learned lean. First, I took all the tools, the 5S, value stream mapping, and one piece flow. I took all those tools and I got really excited about all those tools. And I spent 5 years kind of floundering and not figuring it out. And then I went back to Japan after 5 years and I said, what is it that Toyota's really doing? They're developing their people. That's what they do. They spend every day training, teaching, and developing their people because they know that's their most valuable asset. I'll tell this quick story, Scott, that really illustrates this. I had the master's program, the MBA program come from my local college, tour my facility. They come all the time. And I asked them the question, they had all these MBA students, they thought they were all super smart and professor there. I said, so what's your most important asset? And they all said, your money. And I said, no, it's your future. And they argued with me in front of all my people. And I said, well, go knock yourself out. You got your MBA, you go figure it out that your money's your most important thing and go have a great life, but it's not. It's the development of your people, because when you have developed your people, you're going to have an outrageous life because you're going to have world-class people around you who are solving problems. There's energy, there's emotional energy, and great stuff is going to happen. And the money is the byproduct of having great high-level thinking people, which is what we're all about.
Gosh, yeah. And I didn't know that story, Paul, but it doesn't surprise me because we seem to be lined up on a lot of things. I stated that the best investment is always in you. The second best investment as a business owner is in your people, i.e. in your business. The third best investment is in whatever you know versus, not understanding. So so educate yourself, your people, grow them. And then you can start looking at where do you put the money and allocate it based off of those principles. So,
they say the statistics are the number one thing you have to do to guarantee you will not be in poverty and you'll have a good life is get a college education. I'm not saying college is the end all be all, but if you graduate from high school and you extend a little bit of education so your thinking's a little more robust, it's almost impossible not to have a good life. Almost impossible.
Couldn't agree more. And if someone takes that route or their own, educate, read, listen to podcasts, feed.
And it's not about getting a college diploma. Absolutely, you can do it without it, because I know so many people. Bob Taylor, infinitely more successful than me. Right? No degree. He makes me look like a buffoon. The guy's the most well-read person, well-educated person I've ever met.
Yeah. It's everyone and in this industry, it's very rare for me to be in the seat that I'm in. But I am just a curious soul, man. And I need to do it my way. Like if it's something I'm interested in, I'm going to go deep, but I don't want to be force fed or be taught. Never did.
Right.
How do I know this is the right answer? How do I know that this book has all the right answers? Right. So.
You said it when you said the word, I'm a curious soul. That is actually, I have a picture of me on my website, Akers.net. It says it all starts with curiosity. I am the most curious person in the world. Why, how, what? That doesn't make sense. Show me the evidence. It's everything. Yeah.
Thank you. So something else in common. So when you think about, and I'm going to pivot the money in a second, just on finances, Paul, thinking about lean and business owners, entrepreneurs listening into this, it's all about people. That makes sense. What's the impact lean can have on an organization? Because I know you went through this whole process and it's been transformative. And again, you have like 4 books on it and probably maybe one coming out on finances someday. Who knows?
Yeah.
It needs to happen. I would love it if you did. So anyway, what would you say are the benefits of putting lean in an organization?
No, I'll tell you right now, it's the simplest thing. It's the greatest story ever. My CFO came to me one day, and he in our financial meeting, he took two blank hats, and on the hats he took a Sharpie and he wrote CEO, and the other one firefighter, and he handed me the firefighter hat and he said, "Paul, this is you. You're a firefighter. When are you going to become a CEO?" And what the impact lean has is you get to be a real leader instead of the firefighter, the one that has all the answers, has to go run around and solve all the problems because nobody else has the ability. So if you like being a firefighter, keep doing what you're doing. If you want to be relaxed and enjoy life like I am, and everything's spinning really smoothly, not perfectly, there's always little issues, but they're tiny issues compared to the issues most people deal with, then you might consider lean.
Yeah, that's such a great example. And to that, right, you've been a world traveler for how long and continue to be one?
I'm on a 1.5-year trip right now over Latin America kite surfing, but I've been to 110 countries and I travel nonstop and I do anything I want and go anywhere I want. My company runs I have amazing people, so I have to be very careful there. It's not me. I have amazing people, but the company runs really, really well.
Yeah, amazing people, no doubt, as do I. And you put processes and training in place for them focused on lean, where they're constantly looking. And the other thing that really resonated when I heard you speak all those years ago, Paul, was even just the book, 2 Second Lean. Because I had heard about the Toyota production system. I've heard about lean. And just like our industry of wealth management and financial services, it gets so freaking complicated. And it doesn't have to be.
It doesn't have to be at all.
It's done that way because then, corporations and Wall Street can take advantage of us. And so I'm like, all right, let's simplify this. So when I heard yours, I'm like, oh, I get it. This isn't that freaking complicated. And by the way, we have a book club in our companies. And so we pick once a month or once a quarter, whatever the rhythm is, of what we're going to read and what we're going to discuss. And this was one of them. And for me, it was one of my favorites because I know you, and just because it's simple. Plus, we had a challenge of how many videos can we get done in a 3-month period of making improvements and recording them. And even that you made simple. How to use your iPhone for videos. I've never seen a more simplistic way to actually capture videos. So you got
seconds.
such a skill set.
A couple minutes and you're done. Yeah.
100%.
I think what you said is they like to complicate things because they've got a control of us. I totally agree that they justify their existence. Life is really very simple. It's about what can you give instead of what can you get. Most people are approaching like, what am I going to get out of this? I don't think about that. What am I going to give to this human being? How am I going to help this person advance their life? I'm all about what I'm going to give, not what I'm going to get. And it's really just that simple. And that has been turned on its head.
You nailed it, man. I say this, so wealth, the actual definition of wealth, the original word is we all, WEOL. And the definition of we all, which is wealth, is well-being. We're all chasing well-being.
Right.
And we chase it with money. We can chase it with food. We can chase it with all these things. It's right in front of us. And so with that, my life's purpose that I look at, I also do GTD and I have that weekly review. And so, part of that is you look at your life's purpose. Mine is 2 words, to serve. And then I add what I mean by that is every moment presents itself for you to lift it. So walking around of how can I make this better? How can I make this podcast with Paul where he leaves it going, man, I really got some benefit and enjoyed the conversation with Scott. Like it's not me extracting from you. How can I give to you? I love that.
Boy, we are on the same page on that completely. It's just so beautiful. So beautiful.
And nature does that, right? Nature, yes, a tree needs to take care of itself, but nature is designed to be reciprocal. That's the infinite entrepreneur idea, where the whole system works together because the whole system realizes it needs each other. And so it's going to serve and use itself to benefit the whole.
Oh my gosh. I've never heard that analogy, but it really is accurate. It takes our CO2, gives off oxygen. Oh my gosh, it's so beautiful. It is really a giving ecosystem.
You said it, man. I have you just said something. I can't believe you went there. It's like we breathe in oxygen and then we create carbon dioxide and we expel carbon dioxide.
Right.
Plants need carbon dioxide, turn it into oxygen and send us oxygen back. And that's the reciprocal. We're here to serve. So, man, if we just said one word.
Never heard it said before. Never heard it said before. That's so beautiful. Yeah. You know, I'll tell you, when we talk about things making simple. So one of my big things, Scott, is to educate people, and particularly educate people on the shop floor, because a lot of people on the shop floor are not as predisposed to personal development as maybe you and I are, because we've learned that that's very, very important. And I want them to listen to my book. So I created an app called 2-Second Lean Play. I spent $50,000 on it. It has all my books, 5 books in 9 languages. You just choose a language and all in audio. It's all free. And I did that because I wanted to simplify the process for people to learn and develop themselves. So if I said, oh, you should go to Audible and download Paul's book and spend $300 on a platinum plan a year, they would go, that's not simple. I don't want to spend that money. But if I said, oh, no, download my app for free and just start listening right now, and then share it with all your friends for free, and there's no strings attached, there's nothing. I simplified the whole process. I spent a lot of money to do it, but now tens of thousands of people around the world are able to listen to my book in whatever language they want in a few seconds. Simplify everything, give.
Yeah, that's it. You're serving. And that is 2-Second Lean is the app. So if people listening wanted to say, hey, that's free, I'm going to take you up on that offer. It's 2-Second Lean.
Absolutely, right now. Do it. 2-Second Lean Play. It's actually 2-Second Lean Play, because play it, and listen right now.
Perfect. Thank you for that clarification. No, I actually have it. So I would suggest listeners take you up on that. I'm going to pivot just a little bit, Paul, to because the Way to Wealth podcast, it's about making money simple.
Right.
I like to ask, and you may have to sit on this one and maybe you won't, but what is your earliest memory of money? Childhood memory or me?
Oh my gosh. I could regale you with the best stories. So I, from the very beginning, was an entrepreneur, and it all happened with one thing, my smile. You know, I was just friendly and happy to people. So after junior high school, I walked across the street to the gas station, get in the back of a van, which you would never do in today's society. This guy would pick me up. In the back was a bucket of 5-gallon buckets of flowers, take me down to National City. I'd sit on the corner for 4 or 5 hours. And when people would drive up on Thursday and Friday night to go on their date with their girlfriend or take their wife, I'd say, would you like to buy some flowers? And for $5 or $2 for carnations, $4, $5 for roses, I would sell flowers. I was making 30, 40 bucks a night. Well, that's unheard of for a 13-year-old. That's unheard of. And I was making upwards of $70 and $80 a night on holidays. I would come home and press my money. The money was all wrinkled, right? My mom put out the ironing board and I would iron my money. So at 13 and 14 years old, I was making so much money. It was freaking unbelievable. Then I would go to the bank, and I remember like yesterday, filling out a deposit slip with my mom. I was just a little kid, and walking up to the teller and say, I want to put in $70 into the bank. And then the teller would look at me like, who the hell are you? What 13-year-old puts in $70 in the bank? By the time I was 15 years old, I bought my first sports car, a Datsun Roadster, and a Hobie Cat. I was 15 years old. I couldn't even freaking drive. And I was pulling a Hobie Cat and a Datsun 16. I had my brother drive with me as a permit, because I have a permit driving. Crazy. That's my earliest memories.
That's so cool. That's a great memory, man. And like how, what did that do as far as setting you up? Clearly, and even just the learning the power of interacting with people, of how you were getting them to buy flowers and all of that.
Be nice. Just be nice.
100%.
And nobody else could sell as much as me. And they'd always go, how do you do it? I smile and say, sir, first of all, respectful. I was a Boy Scout. I was an Eagle Scout. Sir, would you like to buy some flowers? Not, would you like to buy some flowers? Sir, would you like to buy some flowers? Basic stuff.
Yeah, that's so good, man. Because, and when I think back, I've read all your books, and the one that comes to me now is just the lean travel. Mm-hmm. And my big takeaway from lean travel, of all of that was in that book, was what you're saying. Be nice. When you're talking to the, stewardess, or you see someone here, or whoever it is, be nice.
And you know where the nice comes from, though? You always want to go to the root issue, go upstream. The nice comes from the fact that I'm grateful that they're there to help me. I don't be nice because I'm trying to manipulate them. I am truly grateful in my heart that they're spending the time to want to help me. They brought water to me. They brought me nuts. They brought me whatever they brought me. I'm like, wow, that's so kind of you. Not, I earned this. I paid $1,500 for the ticket. You better damn well bring me this stuff. It's not, thank you. That was so nice of you.
That's so good, Paul. That's so good. And if we all just zoom out, we can look at what's going on in the world. I know some have some challenging things going on in our life. Not minimizing any of that. Just saying, if you zoom out, none of us put ourselves, whatever your belief system is, doesn't matter what it is, you didn't put yourself here. So we've all hit the lottery to be on this globe spinning around in the middle.
Oh my gosh. The birth lottery big time. And especially if you're born in the United States, boy, the opportunity that we have been given, I can't even, it makes me shudder every time I think about it. I get chills. How did I end up? Because I didn't do anything to deserve it. I could have been born in Bangladesh. When I drive out my driveway, Scott, this is literally what I think. I have the most beautiful home in the world, in my opinion. I drive out and I know right at the curb, I go, I could have been born in Bangladesh. How in the hell did I get born in the United States with parents that love me? Not with money, but just parents that loved me and cared about me, right? No money, very low standard. And then I got to build on that platform what I have.
Beautiful. It's amazing, right? It's absolutely amazing. So with that perspective, like, that's it. And if, hopefully someone listening hears that, and that's an inspiration to just be like, that's exactly right. We're all in that situation. So beautiful perspective. Let me ask you this, and we'll work on another book for you. So lean health, 2 second lean travel, banish sloppiness. Let's talk about lean finances. So 2 perspectives, and it could tie together as one. Just recognizing most are business owners. You're a business owner that are listening to this. As a business owner, if you were writing a book and making finances lean, what would you do? And or for personal finances, you're writing a book, 2 second lean. What would you want to say and share?
Well, it really comes down to one simple principle that my father taught me. Again, not wealthy, an engineer for General Dynamics, very simple man, not a simple man, a very sophisticated, smart man, but we weren't in wealth. He told me one story, and I'll never forget it for the rest of my life. I can remember where I was when he told it to me. I was sanding drywall on the inside of a window jamb. And he said, Polly Wally, because that's what he called me, Polly Wally. He said, Polly Wally, let me explain something to you. You're a carpenter. You're making 20, 25 bucks an hour. The key is when you lay your head down on your pillow at night, Polly Wally, that your money's making money for you. That when you're sleeping and doing nothing, that your money is working for you. And I said, oh, it's not just what I make, it's that my money is making money. So my dad set an example. We had 3 rental homes when I was growing up, and it was a lot of work. We had to go take care of them, deal with the toilet, flush, mow the lawns, and do all that stuff. And I realized that he had that passive income coming in. Every month we had a little bit of a check coming in. Those houses eventually paid off, so it was pure cash at that point. So when I graduated from college in 1983, my wife and I set out on a journey to buy one house for every year we were married. And so I lived in a barrio. I lived in La Puente, California, in a terrible neighborhood. I bought my first house for $49,000. I wanted to buy the $79,000 house, asked my dad for a loan to get more money because I only had $5,000 down to buy the first house. He said, no, live within your means. So instead of buying the $79,000, I bought the $49,000, had to fix it up, live in a ghetto in a barrio where people were shooting each other. My neighbor blew his head off. I'm telling you, bad stuff, but it's what I could afford. Because of that, I had extra income to save up for the next house that I bought in Norwalk, California, 1 year later. And then the fourplex I bought in Riverside, California, the next year. The point is, I live within my means. I started accumulating wealth through letting my money work for me. When I put my head on my pillow, the Riverside property was making money. The Norwalk property was making money. And I just kept doing that, repeating. So the key is When you're sleeping, is your money making money for you? It doesn't matter how much you make an hour. That's the key in my mind.
I couldn't agree more. You had a very smart dad. Our system Way to Wealth focuses on the foundation, making sure the foundation we're protected. It's all about being protected. And then when we get to allocating capital, which is what we're talking about, we use a 3-bucket of money approach: savings, income, and growth. And the point is, savings is emergency opportunity money. Money you can get to within 30 days. It's liquid. It's not going to go down in value. You have savings. Then income, all expenses covered by passive income. That money's invested in a way that it is working for you, sending your income, so that when you have more got your savings, now you have passive income coming in. So when your head's on the pillow, all of your expenses are covered. Now you're financially free and economically independent. Now we can look at the growth bucket and swing for the fences once those 2 buckets are sitting on the foundation.
Perfect.
So Dad's super smart. That's, I think, great advice. The other thing that I'll add, and you did it intuitively, is you did something that was unique to your DNA, I'll call it, meaning you work with wood. You work with your hands. So being in real estate and buying houses makes so much sense because you can do a lot of the improvements.
Absolute demente, yeah.
Right. So what I talk about is, totally agree with everything you said. Our process is Way to Wealth, right? For that 3-bucket approach. And who are you, so that you're doing something that's unique to you, because some may not fit that well. So you could do a business, you could do real estate like you did, or both. You could do paper assets in the market if you like.
Absolutely. No problem.
Whatever, crypto or whatever your interest is. Just remember, the biggest risk is you, the investor, not the investment. So investing in that education, right? And maybe it's commodities, but that's how I think. Right in line, man.
Completely.
Right in line. What would you say as we wrap up here, Paul? Because we could talk all day. You have so much knowledge and wisdom to share, but I want to let you get back to kite surfing and enjoying the sun and the beach. Any words or parting words you would want to share with anyone listening in, business owners and entrepreneurs, that maybe just intuitively comes to you?
Well, it's not going to be what you would expect me to say on a financial podcast, but it is the essence of my book, Lean Travel. Travel light with a full heart. And the point here is you have to have a heart that's full and grateful, not one that's trying to always manipulate the advantage to yourself or negotiate the advantage to yourself. It's not the way a normal entrepreneur would be taught to think, but this is the way I think. And it has been the greatest gift in the world, just to be grateful and to give. And as you approach life, I think the wealth is a byproduct of that. And more importantly, if you have a joyous heart and you have good karma, and people look at you, people treat you differently because they know you genuinely care about them. And you attract different people. There's a different energy there in the way you approach life. And that's my whole thing. Right now, we're working on a project on the beach and how to clean up the beach here in the Dominican and build some infrastructure. And I'm just a kite surfer here, but I tell the guy, I'll fund it. Don't worry about it. Let's just get it going. They're going, why? Because it's the right thing to do. Let's just go do it. Let's figure out some good stuff that will happen out of that. I think that's the way to approach life, and you'll have a great life.
Beautiful. And it shouldn't surprise me, and it doesn't. My audience knows I focus on 4 things in life: health, wealth, wisdom, and happiness. And there's 3 things under each one of those things. So under wealth, here are the 3 things, and it ties to what you said. First is, we need money. So how do we get financially free? I just shared my system. You shared yours. So that's 1. 2, having enough. No matter what you have, if you feel like you have enough, you're wealthy. And then 3rd in the wealth column is love. That's the game. You said it with the full heart. I just say it is love, like having love in your life in any capacity. And by the way, it's all around us. That's the ultimate wealth. That's the game. Money's a tool and an energy we exchange. So anyway, shouldn't surprise me. We're spot on. would love to do this again at some point, Paul. But like I said, I'm going to let you get back to kite surfing. What's the best way for people to, you have so many things out there. Is it paulakers.net?
Yeah, paulakers.net's my website. And you can go to my YouTube channel, Paul Akers. You'll find me there. You can Google me. I'm everywhere on Google. You know, it's so easy to get a hold of me. If you download my app, 2 Second Lean Play, it's kind of cool. I've got nobody's ever done this before. I have a live chat feature built into the app. So you're listening to the book and you say, push the button, Paul, what about this? And I'll answer you. So it's internal. You don't have to go to WhatsApp and find me. You don't have to do anything, but you can find me on all those platforms as well.
That's so cool, man. And speaking of being grateful, super grateful for you being on, sharing your wisdom with my audience. So with that, thanks for being on the Way to Wealth podcast. And audience, we'll catch you back next week where we're going to continue working on making money simple. Why? So you can live fully and live fully now, not 30 years from now. So catch you on next week.
The opinions voiced in Way to Wealth with Scott Ford, Managing Director, Partner, and Wealth Advisor of Carson Wealth, are for general information only and are not intended to provide specific advice or recommendations for any individual. Past performance is no guarantee of future results. All indices are unmanaged and may not be invested into directly. Investing involves risk, including possible loss of principal. No strategy assures success or protects against loss. To determine what may be appropriate for you, consult with your attorney, accountant, financial, or tax advisor prior to investing. Guests on Way to Wealth are not affiliated with CWM LLC or Cetera Advisor Networks LLC. Legato family is not affiliated with Cetera Advisor Networks LLC or CWM LLC. Carson Wealth, 19833 Leitersburg Pike, Suite 1, Hagerstown, Maryland, 21742.